I'm just off to the GTV studios for another of my variety specials. On this week's show, we've got singers Dennis Walters and Di Horder, ventriloquist Barry Krause, from the UK, my old mate Rob McLennan, and that star of the keyboard, Wayne King. We'll be meeting a lady from Wagga Wagga who recently ordered 1.5 tons of steel wool because she wanted to knit her own Volkswagen. Let's get the show started with Jeff Richards' first edition. Thank you. See you.
We will cover the sky. Meet behind Mars. We will hold each other and we'll send for the stars. Make it all up in our mind. Make it up now. Start up in the night. Make it love right now. Start up in the night. Yeah, why don't you take me in your arms and love me? Take me in your arms and love me. Wow, it's Superman. Superman, we love you, Superman. Super, super, Superman. Do it to me, Superman. Superman, you make me feel like the queen of the world.
Supergirl, you make me feel so special, and then for simply miles and miles around, you're flying oh so high, around, round, round, round.
Superman, we love you, Superman. Super, super, Superman. Do it to me, Superman. Making love, start up in the night. Making love, start up in the night. Start up in the night, we'll make it. 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 Start up in the night, we'll make it tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I better go now. That's as good as I'll get on. No, thank you and good evening. Welcome to the show. Before we get on with it, I just want to say a word of thanks. Excuse me laughing, but I've heard what's coming. You know what I mean. And I'd just like to say a special thanks to Channel 9 Publicity Department. They've lined up some terrific press for the series. No, you know, only last week they called me and they said there was a reporter from The Sun here to interview me. From The Sun, I thought, well, the least I can do is talk to him. He's come far enough. No, actually, I'm quite... There's something showing. If it was, it wouldn't be much. Anyway, That's the sort of stuff you're after, isn't it? I'm actually quite used to reporters coming to interview me. You know, they come and see me from newspapers and magazines, you know, like the Mouse Breeders Weekly or Truss Welder's Friend or the Wombat Washer's Own. My own particular favourite, is the Winkle Pickers Annual. That's right. No, and I feel very sorry for them, you know, because once a year can't be much fun. Anyway, this reporter wanted to know all about my family background, you know, all about the distant relatives. Now, I told him about my great-uncle Renfrew. Now, he was a wonderful character. His life's ambition was to be a great jockey, but he was warned off all the racecourses in Britain after a major doping scandal. Now, it seems he took an overdose of Laxettes and rode 5 winners on the trot. Then my uncle Trevor, he met his end at Custer's last stand. Wasn't taking part in the fighting. He was camping nearby and he went over to complain about the noise. And his son Balaclava Corbett, who was very enterprising, he invented a whole new set of lewd and disgusting hand gestures, especially for offending the deaf. Now, I must tell you about the member of my family who my performing kind of instincts came from. My father, that is, actually. He has only just made a comeback in England. Yes, he actually wasn't very successful. In fact, when he retired from show business, he was the only one who knew about it. He was the first cabaret artist on the Queen Mary ever to be cast adrift in an open boat. And he was washed ashore at Brighton 2 years later and stoned by some fishermen who'd seen the act the previous year. But we shouldn't laugh because his comeback was a failure as well. His life came to an untimely end. He was, poor soul, he was drowned in a vat of whiskey in a distillery. Very quick end, you know. Would have been quicker if he hadn't got out twice to go to the loo, but it was quick. Anyway, after this break... Oh, by the way, if the lighting seems a little bit temperamental here tonight, take no notice, because the lighting man, John, is going through rather a sticky patch at the moment. It seems, you know, he's not too well paid here at Channel 9, that he has to take a part-time job as a giraffe sexer's assistant. Very, very responsible, you know. He has to hold the ladders and pass the pliers. Next week, by the way, I'm afraid he is leaving Channel 9 to go over to ABC, where they're doing a very big highbrow spectacular, very elaborate. They've got a cast of thousands. They've got the Mosaic dancers, the Bolshoi Ballet, the Red Army Choir, and the Leningrad Symphony Orchestra. Every one of them performing in the show. As an encore, they're going to invade Europe. But after this break, we'll be right back with Dennis Walter. See you then. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you. Please excuse me if I'm a bit on edge tonight, because part of it probably stems from this afternoon when I was going over a couple of songs with the orchestra, and I stood a bit too close to the man playing the tuba. Instead of blowing, he sucked. They had to send a ferret down to get me out. It was terrible. Still, I mustn't stand here bothering you with all my problems, because I'd like to introduce you now to a young man with a magnificent voice. You've watched him mature from his young Talentine days into a major star. Please welcome Dennis Walter.
Dreaming, I must be dreaming, or am I really lying here with you? Baby, you take me in your arms. Though I'm wide awake, I know my dreams are far behind. And I just fall in love again. Just one touch, then it happens every time. Here I go, and I'll just fall in love again. And when I do, I can't help myself. I'll fall in love you. Magic, it must be magic, the way you hold me and the night just seems to fly. Easy for you to take me to a star. Heaven is that moment when I look into your eyes, and I just fall in love again. Just one touch, then it happens every time. Here I go, and I just fall in love again. And when I do, I can't help myself. I'll fall in love with you. I can't help myself. I'll fall in love with you.
Thank you, Dennis. Ladies and gentlemen, a personal friend of mine and a wonderful ventriloquist. Please welcome Barry Krause.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to meet a very nice little friend of mine. He's a great guy. His name is Bob. He is, of course, a talking doll. I don't like you. Are you going to open your eyes and see all the beautiful girls? That's the idea. You look very sharp in your new suit. One of Ronnie's old ones. Oh, yeah, I see. Had to let it out a little. I like it. All right. Okay. Look, I'm sure you'll have a lot of success in a nice suit like that. I certainly did. I met a gorgeous chick. You met a very nice girl. I'd like to know a lot about her. Tell me this. What are her vital statistics? She has got statistics, Dad, and they're vital. Well, what are they? What do you think of this? 38, yes, 38. 17. 38. 17, yes, and 39. Bingo. Was it a green ticket? Wow, that sounds tremendous. You're rather fast. Tell me, how old are you? 8. What on earth are you going to be? 9. No, I mean, what are you going to be when you grow up? A ventriloquist. How on earth could you be a ventriloquist? I don't think you know what a ventriloquist really is. I certainly do. Very well. What is a ventriloquist? Your vocation as a ventriloquist, Dad, is to ventriloquialise in variety and vaudeville. It's a ventriloquy that varies to various ventriloquial variations, to a vast and varying ventriloquialistic vocabulary, thus giving vent to a thoughtless demonstration without any movement of your lithiovicarose. Oh, I see. You're not a very good ventriloquist? I'm not a good ventriloquist. Why? I'm a ventriloquist. I don't believe you. You mean you have your very own doll down here behind the case? I don't like you. I'll see if I can find him. This guy here. This fellow here. Very well. I'll put him on your knee, and perhaps you can tell the ladies and gentlemen his name. Okay, what is your name, son? It's Claude. It's Claude, and I like cigarettes and whiskey and wild women. How old are you, Claude? 26. I don't like you. But look, I think if you were a very clever ventriloquist, you could perhaps say something difficult. Do you think you could say something difficult? He certainly can. Get on to this. The rain in Spain is mainly on the plain. Oh, Georgie's got it. I've had it before. You'll get it again. But right now, I'd like you both to meet another little friend of mine. He's a great little guy, and he loves meeting nice folk. His name is Joe Blake. He's a talking snake. Are you going to say hello to the ladies and gentlemen?
No.
You're not going to say hello?
No.
Come on, Aussie, come on. Are you going to say hello?
No.
I don't like you. How about a big smile for everybody? That's the idea. Thank you. And now in a nice big voice say, how do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Go on, have a go, Joe. Are you going to say hello?
No.
Why?
They're going to last.
6 to 4 they don't. Take it. Head up in the air and in a very big voice say, how do you do, ladies and gentlemen?
No.
Look, will you please hurry up and say hello because it's almost time for us to say goodbye and we have to dash off to another engagement. It's in October. It's been cancelled. Not another strike. I hope it's not another strike, but really we have to dash now. So say goodbye to the ladies and gentlemen. It's good night from me, good night from me, good night from me, and good night from him. And him. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I've watched quite a bit of television since I've been in Australia, and I've been particularly impressed by the singing of my next guest. I like her, actually, because she's very, very pretty and has a great voice, and most of all, she's as short as I am. Ladies and gentlemen, a very big hand as Di Horder sings The Days of Wine and Roses.
The days, wine and roses, laugh and run away like a child at play. Through the meadowland towards an open door, a door marked nevermore that wasn't there before. The lonely night's discloses just a passing breeze filled with memories of a golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and June. The days, wine and roses, laugh and run away like a child at play. Through the meadowland toward an open door, the door's marked nevermore that wasn't there before. The lonely night's discloses just a passing breeze filled with memories of a golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and June. I said the days of wine and roses, laugh and run away like a child at play. Through the meadowland toward a closing door, the door's marked nevermore that wasn't there before. The lonely night discloses just a passing breeze filled with memories of a golden smile that introduced me to the days of wine and roses and June. The days of wine and roses and June.
really lovely. We really enjoyed that. It was very nice, very nice song. Lovely, Marcia. We all enjoyed that very much indeed.
Ronnie, it's Di. I'm over here.
You been dieting, Di?
What are you wearing that awful coat for and those stupid glasses? You can't see. What's it all for?
Well, I'll tell you what it's for, to be absolutely honest, because I have got coming on shortly Rod McLennan.
Not smooth, sophisticated, debonair Rod McLennan.
Well, there's no need to go on too much, dear. I'm the one who's taking you to dinner.
Not in that coat, you're not.
No, the truth is, the coat is for Rod's benefit, you see, because believe it or not, smooth, charming, urbane Rod McLennan is desperately insecure.
What on earth do you mean?
Well, he's very insecure, you see, and when he meets someone of my awesomeness, I mean, his knees turn to jelly and he shakes like a child. So I put on this to try and make myself look slightly ridiculous, you
Well, you look totally ridiculous.
see. You see, that's the whole point.
Mr. Wonderful.
Rod!
That's
Oh.
me. Hi, guys.
Oh, you sang beautifully.
Pathetic
You look
facade.
beautiful there.
It's all a
That's
sham. It's all to boost his confidence. You know. It's all this moncherie. It's all just all a front.
After the show.
After the show, pop off. It's all
Candlelit
candlelit table. It's all a
Little
facade.
French wine.
Little French
Discuss
wine.
our
So boring.
possible weekend
It's
in
all.
Mudgee.
It's all a cover up. It's a
Oh,
cover up.
young Corbett, hello. What do you come as? What are you doing wearing those ridiculous glasses? They make you look silly. And those glasses make you look silly, Di.
Pathetic facade. The whole thing is, you know, it's all so empty. All this bonhomie, a little French wine, a weekend in Mudgee. It's all. We all know it's a front. You know, we know. Say out loud. Be honest, Rod. Say out loud. I am a spotty adolescent underneath. Say that. Admit it.
Rod, say that isn't so.
Di, I'm afraid he's right. I might appear suave and sophisticated on the outside, but underneath I'm just a frightened little schoolboy, lost and dazzled by the lights.
Frightened by the lights.
Never mind, I'll take you to dinner.
What about me?
Oh, you want to take me to dinner too?
No, I'm taking Di.
Oh, no, you're not. No.
I'll follow you.
You'll never manage it in those glasses.
Oh, I wish I'd never tried. Honestly, I'd try and help you out,
it
give you a
was
bit of confidence.
Sweet of you. Isn't he sweet, Rod?
Yes. Rather reminds me of something I used to keep my pajamas in.
Oh,
We'll all go.
we'll all what? Go to a restaurant? Oh, that would be wonderful, yes. I'll book myself a high chair and we'll make up a foursome.
Who we gonna get to make a foursome so that we can paint the town?
I'm in my bikini.
She's always so serene.
Now that she's got the OBE, she's second to the Queen.
Ronnie, wish you made Greer would be too awesome.
Danny LaRue in drag would not be right.
How about Margaret Fulton? She'd cook us jellied eels.
Tammy would suit him better if he wore his platform heels.
Send for Ina Harwood, we can call in Meals on Wheels
To make a foursome tonight. Who we gonna get to make a foursome?
Someone who has style and grace.
How about Queenie Paul?
No, she's not me at all.
Margaret Whitlam would be fun.
Oh, must she be so tall? Would she turn up if we asked Jeannie Little?
Say that you got your pools in and she might.
We could get Yvonne Corley.
She babysits.
That's life.
We could always ask Margaret Guilfoyle. No, she'd bring along Wolf Fife.
This is too ridiculous. I'll have to bring the wife
To make a foursome tonight.
Maggie Tabor, Buchan Parker.
I'll settle for Ronnie Barker.
When we paint the town, we paint the town, we paint the town tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rod McLennan and Di Horner. Thank you. Actually, I was saying earlier how I'm feeling a bit on edge, but it's really more serious than that. Or to be honest, I've been getting this terrible ringing in my ears, all the time. You know what it's like, terrible ring, 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 terrible. I mean, I wake up in the middle of the night and I say to the wife, go down and answer the telephone. She gets very upset because we live in a bungalow. Now, I went to see the local doctor. Well, we call him that because he's always in the local. And He's straight out of The Young Doctors, you know, dresses like Gwen Plum. Anyway, I told him about this ringing in my ears. He said, I don't think it's anything serious, but if it starts spreading, let me know. Would you like a second opinion? Would you like to pay for a second opinion? I said, yes. He said, all right then, I don't think it's really serious, but if it starts spreading, let me know. Anyway, I've been to all sorts of, this lot over here, remember? I've been to all sorts of specialists in London, Rome, Vienna, Wagga Wagga, Gilly Gilly, Ossenpesa, Katzenella, Bergen by the Sea. I was getting so desperate with this ring, 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 I was thinking of having myself cut off. But I daren't, because I'm all I've got. So yesterday, I happened to go into Myers to buy some new clothes, you know. I mean to say you can't walk around like this all the time. And I went over to the shirt counter. I said, excuse me, I said, I'd like to buy some shirts. Now, this is the exciting part. He said to me, yes, sir. He said, 15 neck? I said, no, 14 and a half. He said, I'm sure, sir, it's a 15 neck. I said, no, I'm sorry. I said, it's a 14 and a half. I said, always has been. He said to me, have you been getting ringing in your ears? I said, yes. He said, you want a bloody 15 neck. Now, by the way, if when I introduce various acts to you this evening, you know, I sometimes don't do the grand wave, you know, of this right arm, you know, please forgive me. It's not lack of enthusiasm. I mean, you know, I've got too much rheumatism up here. No, they're all right over that side. I should be able to do that. It'll be all right. But if you see me on this side, it'll be, ladies and gentlemen, it's them. Awfully so. I've just got this rheumatism in this shoulder, you know. It's the wife's fault, really. That's the shoulder she cries on. And she is very, she has to bend down, mind you, to get there, but she does. She is very emotional, especially about human suffering. I mean, she once saw Graham Kennedy writing a check and it upset her for days. Inconsolable. Anyway, I went to the doctor. He said, take your clothes off. I said, where shall I put them? He said, over there on top of mine. Now that... No, that's not exactly true. I mean, no. If I'm not careful, I should be doing what all the other comedians do, you know. As soon as they mention doctors, they usually tell jokes. Like, I said to the doctor, I said, I keep getting red and green spots before my eyes. He said, have you seen your optician? He said, no, only red and green spots. Now, that is a trap I mustn't fall into. But I did go and see him about the rheumatism. Actually, I remember the first time I went to see him, I had laryngitis. And his wife opened the door. I said, is the doctor at home? She said, no, come in. You see, I'm falling into the trap. Now, I wouldn't lie to you. I said, doctor, I said, the trouble is that when I go like this, I get this terrible pain in my shoulder every time I do that. He said, why do you do that? I said, well, if I don't do that, how can I get my coat on? That's Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome back Jeff Richards' first edition with Pinball Wizard. guest and I have been great mates actually for years. We made our first appearances in the West End of London in the same show, Boys from Syracuse, and later appeared together for a while at Daniel LaRue's nightclub, and I know he's a great favourite out here in his own country. Would you please welcome Rod McLennan?
Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Or won't you come home? I'm on the whole night long. I'll do the cooking, honey. I'll pay the rents. I know I've done you wrong. Now remember that rainy evening when I threw you out with nothing but a fine-tooth comb. Well, I know that I'm to blame. Ain't that a shame, Bill Bailey? Come on home. It's probably one of the most popular standards ever written, and it's certainly a great favourite with mine. And so many people have sung that song over the years, and maybe some of your favourites, like, for instance...
Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Yes, come on home. I'm on the whole night long. Yes, I did. I'll do the cooking, honey, yes. I'll pay the rent. You know I've done you. Remember that great hit?
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. No, seriously, if anyone's ever contemplating doing a Louis Armstrong impression, forget it. You can do yourself irreparable harm and hurt your throat as well. What if I might have a drink? What a lovely girl. Thank you very much. Everybody loves somebody sometime, even though they moan the whole night long. I'll do the cooking, honey. How'd all these people get in my room? I know I've done you wrong.
Remember that rainy evening I threw you out with nothing but a fine-tooth comb? Ah, well, I know that I'm to blame. Ain't that a shame? Bill Bailey, Uncle William, somebody... I want you to come home, Mammy. I tell you, you gotta come on home. I'm mourning, grown to have you back on my knee. That's the place you belong. That's the place I've been longing to have you for years. I'm gonna do the cooking, honey. I'll pay the rent. As you know that I've done you wrong. Ah, now remember Al Jolson, dear, down on one knee, black face. You sure you got the right fella? Oh, I thought I was mocking myself out for nothing for a minute. Oh, well, I know that I'm to blame. Ain't it a shame? Bill Bailey, won't you please? Uncle William, I'm down on my knees. Bill Bailey, oh, won't you come on home? Everybody wants to get into the act here.
Thank you, Rod. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you now another Australian who has achieved international recognition, a young man, a pianist, who doesn't tell any funny stories while he's playing, simply because when you can play like this, you don't need to tell funny stories. Please welcome, playing his own composition, Mistral, Wayne King. Thank you very much. Now, tonight's story is less of a joke, to be honest, and more a tale of personal hardship, you know. And as regular viewers of this program will agree, if either of them is watching, that's something I've had more than my fair share of, or share fair of, or fair share fair share. Anyway, I've had something. Not a lot. Anyway, only. Not a lot. I had something. Only last week, I had a bit of a setback when I went along to the auditions for this year's Christmas pantomime that they're having in Sydney. Actually, it's being held. The pantomime, you know, actually being put on by the Blacktown Community Arts Centre and Rainmaking Workshop. And it appears that they're doing a sort of compilation of nursery rhyme stories this year, and all the characters are being cast to type. Now, they want the girl who plays Mary to actually be contrary. You know. The man who plays Simon to be, you know, a bit simple. So you can imagine how I felt, you know, about being offered the part of Wee Willie Winky. Now, however, this little story is about something that happened a few years ago when I made the mistake of buying a racehorse. Now, I remember the occasion very clearly because my wife had just got over a rather disastrous experiment with yoga. Yes, she tried a few of the more advanced positions and got stuck, and they had to rush her to hospital in a string bag. The result was I popped into the library the next morning to return all her yoga books, and while I was there, I thought I'd browse around, you know, for a bit for myself, and I just, not browse around for a bit, but I ran. That's a good idea. Anyway, I just thought, I just asked the librarian to get me a couple of books down from the bottom shelf, and some of those health education volumes, you know, with titles like How to Be a Docker and Still Remain Active, or Wake Up to Insomnia, that sort of thing. When all of a sudden, my bank manager came up to me and he said, "Ronnie," he said, "I was wondering if you'd like to have dinner with my wife and me tonight." Well, I said, "That's very nice." I said, "Of course." He said, "Fine, we'll be around about 8:30. My bank manager and I chatted away about all the old times, well into the night. At length, he asked me if I was interested in buying the racehorse, you see. He said, "You've heard of the distinguished titled racehorse breeder, Sir Pull-'em-Down Knightley?" Well, he said he's giving it all up now because the other week one of his horses lashed out with its back leg and caught him in the hyphen. Now, so he's selling up. He's selling up all his stock, and would you be interested in buying one of them? Well, to cut a long story short, I thought it was worth a try, so I bought the horse, and I tried it in a few races, and it's fair to say that each one was an absolute abysmal disaster. Poor thing came nowhere, you know. Every time it raced him, it was an effort to get him out of the starting box. I mean, in a way, you could almost read inadequacy written all over the animal's face, you know. Like a man who'd been arrested for streaking, you know, and let off for insufficient evidence, you know. So this went on for a few months, and we did everything we could to try and put some life into the horse. Well, it was all a waste of time, and in the end, we got him entered at an evening meeting at Pakenham. First race, almost no prize money, but we thought we could try, you know. And we said if it doesn't do any good this time, it's back to the milk round tomorrow. Mine is made up. So off he goes, 2-mile race, round twice. They come into the straight for the last 4 furlongs, and the jockey is kicking the animal, trying to get it to go. He's hitting it with the whip, and the horse turned round and said, "Go easy, fellow." He said, "I've got a milk round to do in the morning." That's all for this week. I'd like to thank you for watching, my guests for coming. See you next show. Good night.